Welcome to The Explainer. So today we are unpacking a truly fascinating topic, and honestly, it's one that affects almost every single one of us. We're going to look at a classic Buddhist story that explores the profound mechanics of the human mind and the incredible, often completely untapped power of silence. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by that constant racing chatter in your head, or just the exhausting noise of the modern world, well, this explainer is going to give you a whole new perspective on what it actually means to be quiet.
Okay, let's dive right into this. I want you to ask yourself honestly right now, could you do it? Could you truly survive day in and day out without uttering a single word? I mean, it sounds simple enough at first glance, right? Just keep your lips sealed. But as we're going to uncover today, merely keeping your mouth shut is really only the very beginning of actual silence.
Our story kicks off with a super relatable, everyday problem. We meet a man named Harish, and Harish is completely and utterly exhausted. His dilemma, he's dealing with a relentlessly talkative wife. Despite all his pleading, her constant talking leads to just daily exhaustion and endless conflict in their home. Desperate for any kind of solution, Harish takes her to a visiting monk, hoping this wise man can basically convince her to talk less. But instead of just giving her a simple scolding, the monk smiles and decides to share his wisdom through a really powerful allegorical story. So the monk's story centers around the specific disciple in a bustling ashram. And let me tell you, this guy was exhausting to be around. He gossiped about his peers, constantly bringing back fresh rumors every single time he stepped out. He relentlessly boasted about his wealthy background, claiming he gave up this life of luxury just to be there. He was always trying to prove how smart he was, putting others down to make himself look superior, and constantly, desperately seeking validation from the guru. Basically, he was a walking storm of chaotic, noisy, ego-driven energy. Honestly, the kind of guy who would absolutely be arguing with strangers in a comment section today. Well, one day the guru gathers everyone together and issues a challenge. Take a 1-month vow to build internal strength. Now, our arrogant disciple couldn't just take a normal vow. No way. He marches right up to the guru and demands a grand, difficult challenge worthy of his supposed greatness. The guru, knowing exactly what this particular disciple actually needs, gives him a deceptively simple task: maintain absolute silence for 1 full month. Literally, not a single word. The disciple practically laughs, thinking this is going to be an incredibly easy way to prove his superiority. Now, what's really fascinating here is how fast things just totally fall apart for him. Day 1 actually goes pretty smoothly. It's easy enough to just keep his mouth shut. But by day 2, the sheer burden of all those unspoken opinions starts building up. By day 3, it morphs into this extreme psychological heaviness. And by day 4, he experiences a complete mental and physical breakdown. He's intensely restless, he completely loses his appetite, and his head feels like it's literally going to split open. He physically sickens simply because he cannot interject, give his opinion, or control the conversations happening around him. He absolutely cannot take it anymore. He runs to the guru, grabs a piece of paper, and frantically writes down that he's suffocating, his mind is going crazy, and he begs to break the vow. The guru reads the note, smiles calmly, and delivers this profound written response. He writes, "Vows are not meant to be broken. Completing them increases internal strength." The guru reminds him that true inner power actually comes from seeing things through, pointing out that if he can't handle this tiny commitment to keep quiet, he's never going to be able to handle the complex challenges of his life. The choice to quit is his, but the cost is his own growth. Stung by that truth, the disciple locks himself in his hut to continue the vow. Fast forward to day 15, and he hasn't uttered a single sound. But he goes back to the guru and writes a confession, and this brilliantly illustrates the core conflict of the story. On the outside, he is perfectly silent, his lips are sealed, he's totally isolated. But on the inside, he is deafeningly loud. He tells the guru his mind is just filled with screams, complaints, and endless mental questions. The external silence has done absolutely nothing to quiet the raging storm inside his head. And this brings us to a really crucial concept: inner noise. The guru explains that as long as the disciple is surrounded by the voices of others, his mind is going to continue to speak. Why? Because it's a deeply ingrained habit of the ego. The ego is literally addicted to constantly arguing, judging, and chattering, even when the mouth is firmly closed. True silence, therefore, is way more complex than simply refusing to speak. It requires actually disconnecting from the very triggers that feed that inner noise. Realizing this profound truth, the disciple does something pretty radical. He completely abandons the ashram, leaving behind everything familiar. He journeys deep, deep into the dense forest, seeking ultimate isolation, far, far away from all human voices. He's finally stepping away from that desperate need for external validation. He's moving into a quiet space where there's absolutely no one left to perform for, no one to judge, and no one to impress.
But, the forest isn't just instantly peaceful. His solitude breakthrough happens in these intense psychological stages. First, with zero external distractions, his inner voices actually become deafeningly loud. Every old grievance, every complaint echoes fiercely in his mind. But then, stage 2 kicks in. He has a deep realization. Facing himself without any external filter, he finally recognizes how foolish and arrogant he used to be when he gossiped and judged his peers. He sees his own ego for what it really is. And through that profound acceptance, stage 3 finally happens. That relentless internal chatter slowly, beautifully, fades into absolute nothingness.
For literally the first time in his entire life, his mind is clear. And because those internal complaints and judgments have vanished, he experiences this incredible sensory awakening. He truly hears the rustling of the wind for the very first time. He listens to the intricate songs of the birds. He feels the natural rhythm and flow of the water. He discovers a profound stillness that surrounds him. He even shouts out loud to the heavens just to test it, and the deep peace within him remains entirely unbroken. 3 months later, the disciple returns to the ashram, but he is entirely transformed. I mean, everyone immediately notices this incredible, grounded calm radiating from him. He goes to the guru, touches his feet, and asks if his vow is still intact. The guru looks into his peaceful eyes and agrees that it is. The disciple then shares this incredibly powerful realization. He says, "I am speaking, I am walking, I am seeing, but inside, I am completely alone in absolute silence." He finally gets it. He understands that true silence travels with you. It's a state of being, completely regardless of what's happening on the outside. So what does this all mean? The crucial point is the guru's ultimate lesson. We are so addicted to speaking purely to prove we are right. We want to force our opinions on others, to shut them down, and basically validate our own egos. But doing this, it only creates sorrow and wastes a massive amount of our vital energy. Compare that to the alternative, turning inward. When we choose not to engage in useless chatter, we actually conserve our energy, which allows us to awaken our true selves and find genuine, lasting peace. The guru then drops what I think is the most impactful piece of wisdom in the whole story. Most of our sorrows are born from our inability to stay quiet. Just think about how true that is for us today. Think about Harish at the beginning of our story, or even your own daily struggles with conflict, social media arguments, and that constant mental chatter. So many of the fights we pick and the anxieties we harbor comes simply because we literally cannot resist the powerful urge to open our mouths and throw our energy into the void. All right, let's bring this all together. How do we actually apply this to our own chaotic, noisy lives? Well, here are the core actionable lessons we can take away. First, consciously conserve the energy you currently waste on useless, empty words. Second, when you feel that familiar urge to lash out or gossip, try turning your attention inward instead. Third, let go of the exhausting need to shut others up or constantly prove them wrong. And finally, work to silence the ego, because that is the true source of all that internal, chaotic noise. Which leaves us with one final, deeply personal question to ponder as we wrap up today's explainer. I want you to ask yourself honestly, how much of your energy will you waste on useless words today? The next time you find yourself about to jump into a petty argument or gossip or just talk simply to fill the air, remember the disciple in the forest. Remember the immense power of turning inward. Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating topic with me. Catch you next time.